The blinking cursor on Ethan's laptop screen seemed to mock him. Each flash was a reminder of how long he'd been sitting there, staring at a resume that felt more like a list of failures than achievements. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, untouched. The once busy hum of his apartment had faded into silence. No phone calls, no emails, no sense of direction. 3 months. That's how long it had been since he lost his job. 3 long months of searching, applying, waiting, and being rejected. Every "thank you for your interest," but email chipped away at his confidence. He told himself it wasn't personal, but it felt personal. It always did. Bills were piling up. Rent was due soon. Even his prayers had grown tired. "Lord," he whispered into the stillness, "what do you want me to do? I've tried everything." His voice trembled, not from anger but exhaustion. He didn't understand why God seemed so silent. Ethan reached for his worn-out Bible, the one his mother had given him when he left for college. The pages were full of underlined verses and faded notes, echoes of a faith that once felt alive. He flipped it open randomly, hoping for a sign, a word, anything. His eyes landed on Matthew 6:33. "Greater than, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." He read it once, then again. "Seek first the kingdom," he murmured. "I am seeking, Lord. I'm praying, reading, applying for jobs, what am I missing?" He leaned back in his chair, staring at the ceiling. The verse didn't feel like an answer. It felt like a riddle. How could seeking God help him pay his bills? How could faith fill the fridge? The truth was, Ethan didn't just feel unemployed, he felt unseen. Forgotten. As if the God who once guided his steps had gone silent. Outside, rain began to fall softly against the window, blurring the city lights into streaks of golden gray. Ethan closed his eyes and whispered one last prayer before shutting down his laptop. "God, if you're there, I'm listening. I just don't know what to do anymore." And somewhere beyond the sound of rain, heaven listened. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned, his mind replaying the day's disappointments like a broken record. Every unanswered email and failed interview echoed louder in the quiet of his small apartment. By midnight, he gave up on sleep, slipped on his worn sneakers, and decided to take a walk. The city was half asleep, streetlights flickering, a soft drizzle coating the pavement. Cars hummed in the distance, their headlights slicing through the mist. Ethan shoved his hands into his pockets, feeling the chill of the night air bite his skin. Each step seemed to mirror his thoughts, restless, uncertain, searching. He passed a bakery that had just closed, its windows fogged with warmth and comfort that didn't belong to him. He saw a young couple laughing under an umbrella, a taxi driver nodding along to the radio, a homeless man curled beneath a blanket of newspapers. Everyone seemed to have a place, a rhythm, a reason, except him. As he reached the small park near his building, Ethan sat down on a damp wooden bench. The world felt too big and he felt too small. "God," he whispered, voice breaking, "I don't know what you're doing. I'm trying to trust you, but I don't even know what that means anymore." He bowed his head, not expecting an answer, but then, something happened. A thought, quiet and steady, slipped into his heart. Greater than, don't look for a job. Ethan's eyes snapped open. He looked around. The park was empty, the only sound the rustling of leaves. He rubbed his temples. What? That can't be right. I need a job. But the thought came again, this time clearer, calmer. Greater than, don't look for a job. Look for me. He froze, goosebumps rising along his arms. It wasn't an audible voice, yet it carried a weight no human words could hold. Peace. Deep, unmistakable peace. For the first time in months, the knot in his chest loosened. The burden felt lighter. Ethan sat there in silence, feeling the rain on his face and the strange warmth growing inside him. He didn't understand what it meant yet, but one thing was certain. God had spoken, not to his ears, but to his heart. And that changed everything. The next morning, sunlight crept through the blinds, painting soft stripes across Ethan's cluttered desk. For the first time in weeks, he woke up without dread pressing on his chest. The memory of last night's quiet voice lingered in his mind, don't look for a job. Look for me. He sat at the edge of his bed, still unsure what that meant. No plan, no paycheck, no certainty, only a strange calm that made no sense. But something inside him whispered that it was time to do something different. He picked up his phone and stared at the contact list until one name stood out, Pastor Daniel. Ethan hadn't spoken to him in months, not since he stopped attending church regularly. He hesitated for a moment, then pressed, "Call." "Ethan." The pastor's voice was warm, surprised. "It's good to hear from you." "Hey, Pastor," Ethan said, his voice shy. I'm not really sure why I'm calling. Is there anything I can help with at the church or community? I've got time, and I think I just need to do something that matters." There was a pause, then a soft chuckle. "You called at the perfect time. We're short on volunteers at the food bank this week. Why don't you come by?" That afternoon, Ethan found himself surrounded by boxes of canned food, crates of vegetables, and the hum of conversation. It was far from glamorous, his hands got dirty, his back ached, but his heart felt alive in a way it hadn't for months. He met people who had lost more than he had, families struggling to eat, elderly men grateful for a simple loaf of bread, single mothers holding back tears of relief. And in their eyes, Ethan saw something that humbled him, gratitude without complaint. Each box he packed felt like a prayer in motion. Each smile he received felt like a reminder that God was closer than he thought. That night, as he walked home tired but peaceful, he realized something profound. Maybe God wasn't asking him to do less, but to do differently. Maybe, "Don't look for a job," meant, "Let me show you your purpose." And for the first time, that sounded like enough. 2 weeks passed, and Ethan's days began to find a new rhythm. Each morning he walked to the food bank, rolled up his sleeves, and worked alongside others who shared the same quiet determination to help. There was laughter now, where there used to be worry. He wasn't earning money, but he was gaining something more valuable, peace. He had stopped checking his email obsessively. The pressure to prove himself had faded. Instead of chasing opportunities, he focused on serving others, and each day felt like a small miracle. The verse he once questioned, "Seek first the kingdom of God," now made sense in a way no sermon had ever explained. One afternoon, while stacking boxes of canned goods, a man approached him. He was in his mid-50s, with kind eyes and a firm handshake. "You're Ethan, right?" the man asked. "I've seen you here a few times. You're always smiling, even when you're sweating." Ethan laughed. "I guess I've had a lot of practice. It's good to be doing something that matters." The man nodded. "I like that attitude. My name's Paul. I run a logistics company downtown. We handle food distribution for several charities. We're actually short-staffed and could use someone dependable. Do you have any experience in operations or management?" Ethan blinked, surprised. "Actually, yes. That was my field before I got laid off." Paul smiled. "Then maybe this is meant to be. If you're interested, come by the office tomorrow. I think we could use someone like you." Ethan's heart swelled. He hadn't applied. He hadn't chased. The opportunity had found him. It felt like God's gentle whisper had come full circle, a promise kept. That evening, as he walked home under a golden sunset, Ethan stopped and looked up at the sky. "You did it, didn't you?" he said softly, a smile spreading across his face. "You were never telling me not to work, you were teaching me not to worry." Peace filled his chest as the city lights flickered on one by one. He had sought God, not success, and in doing so, God had given him both.